Welcome back, everyone. It's another Dominion video, and I've got a new guest with me this time.
Hi there. Oh, I guess I should say my name. Sorry, I'm Kieran.
All right, and you've got a fair bit of experience with the Dominion, so I hear.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm quite good. I'm obviously not super pro tier amazing, but I've played it quite a lot.
Yeah, I've seen some people who are what you might call pro tier amazing, and I don't think I'm ever going to be at that level. But we got mostly cards that are new to the series today. The only familiar one in this whole set is Wharf, that's still +2 cards, +1 buy, 2 turns in a row. So, if you'll bear with me while I explain the rest of them. First up, we've got Lighthouse. This is one of those duration cards that actually affects things for the duration of the time it's in play, not just when you play it and at the start of the next turn. It does give you another action when you play it, as well as a coin, and you get another coin at the start of your next turn, which is basically just there so that the card stays in play. Because as long as you have at least one Lighthouse in play, any other player's attack cards will have no effect on you. It's kind of like having a moat in your hand, but it sits on the table and doesn't take up space in the following hand. The downside is, if it were an attack that you actually wanted to hit you, you don't have the option of keeping it hidden. Once it's there, no attacks are ever going to affect you. So it's a good idea, especially when you're in a kingdom with a lot of nasty attacks. You probably want to make sure you're playing a Lighthouse every turn. This is one of those duration cards where you really might not want to play it on a particular turn if you want to have a chance of drawing it again the next turn so that you can keep rotating those lighthouses. Next up, Pearl Diver, one of those kind of why bother cards. You get an extra card and an extra action, and then you look at the bottom card of your deck and optionally put it on top. So you really are kind of diving for pearls. If the bottom card of your deck is something that you really want, that's great. If it's not, then it's going to sit there through any Pearl Divers that you may play. I have played a couple of games where I would play several Pearl Divers in a turn and keep the card on the bottom until the very end because I specifically wanted to draw it into my next hand. Otherwise, it's kind of there. If you've got 2 extra coins to spend, you can get it. Then we've got our first attack for this kingdom, Ambassador. And this is one of those really rare cards that can actually return cards to the supply. You reveal any card that you've got in your hand, and you can return up to 2 copies of it from your hand to the supply. So you can only choose a card that you've actually got in your hand at the time. You can return no copies of it if you want, or you can return 1 or 2. Regardless of how many you return to the supply, each other player gains a copy of it. So rather common things to do with Ambassador are getting rid of your starting coppers and estates, especially in a kingdom like this where you don't have any trashing. Or you might get your hands on a curse and then ambassador that curse over and over to all the other players, only returning it once all the curses have run out. You could potentially, especially in a 2-player game, extend the game a little bit. Say you've got 2 piles empty. You empty a 3rd pile on your turn. You could use the ambassador to return 2 copies of a card to the supply. Your opponent gets 1, and hey, now there are only 2 empty piles. The game continues. But that's really an edge case. Generally, this just means you're going to be tossing cards back and forth across the table at each other, and usually you'll get down to just 1 estate getting passed back and forth. Fishing Village. It's our village for this game. It gives you 2 actions and a coin, and on your next turn you get 1 action and a coin. So it gives you an extra action 2 turns in a row. Plus, it's a good source of money. Warehouse. Just kind of a filtering card. You draw 3 cards, you get an extra action, and then you discard 3 cards. So if you've got 3 cards in your hand that you don't particularly want, a warehouse will potentially let you replace them with good ones. It's a little like a cellar, only it has to be exactly 3 cards, and you get to draw first before you choose what to discard, meaning that you can discard some or all of the cards that you just drew. You just gotta watch it does reduce your hand size by 1, and in this kingdom it's kinda hard to increase your hand size. You're basically stuck with wharves for that. Cut Purse, the other attack for this kingdom. You get 2 coins, and everybody else discards a copper, or shows you their entire hand to prove that there's no copper in it. This is one of those hand size reducing attacks that can hit your opponent multiple times, and it doesn't matter how small their hand is. If they're down to just 1 copper and you play a Cut Purse, they're discarding their only copper. As the game goes on, and there are fewer coppers in play, the Cut Purse would tend to be less effective, but again here, we can't trash coppers. We can only return them to the supply. And when we do, the other player is going to get a copper. Next up, Treasure Map. This is kind of a weird one. It's another one of those cards that tends to be better in pairs. In this case, it's only useful in pairs. When you play a treasure map, you trash it. And if you have another treasure map in hand, you trash that too. Provided that you did trash 2 treasure maps when you play it, you gain 4 golds, putting all of them on top of your deck. Sometimes this can be absolutely amazing, especially if you've got cards in the kingdom that help you line up the 2 treasure map cards. Otherwise, your strategy is kind of to buy a whole bunch of treasure maps and hope that 2 of them come up at the same time. Not usually going to be effective, because a single treasure map is a dead card in any given hand. Same thing if you draw a treasure map and you're out of actions to play it. And you also have to ask yourself, are those 4 golds cards that I want to have in my deck? Sometimes, yeah, you want to load up your deck with treasures, but that'll make it hard to line up the treasure maps. Other times, you can line up the treasure maps, but you don't want to have all the gold in your deck. And you gotta remember, if you don't have a way to draw through some of that gold in the same turn you play the treasure maps, your next hand is 4 golds and 1 other card that's not likely to give you a plus buy. So, games where treasure map is effective tend to have ways to get around all of that stuff, otherwise it can be really slow. Then you've got Outpost. Looks like they have actually changed this card a little bit, but the basics are that when you play an Outpost, you get an additional turn after the current turn, but an Outpost can never cause you to take more than 2 turns in a row. There are other things in Dominion that'll come up later on that will cause you to take more than 1 turn. If you do one of those, then the Outpost is useless. You also only draw 3 cards for your next turn after you've played an Outpost, so the bonus turn, you only have 3 cards to start with. But that can still be effective if you've got cards that let you draw more stuff. I'm not really sure there's a whole lot to say about Outpost. It's generally really good if any given 3 cards in your deck will suffice to kick off a new turn.
I guess it's worth... I guess it's worth briefly mentioning that you don't get an extra turn if you end the game before the Outpost triggers as well. That's just a little slightly important detail about it.
Yeah, that's true. That is another one of those edge cases. There is one thing that was just recently introduced to the game that can give you an extra turn after the end of the game, but anything that happens after your turn, if the game ends during that turn, doesn't tend to trigger. And I've run into that many times in the past, and I always forget. So something that can definitely help your Outpost is Tactician. This is a card that can become a central focus of your deck, and in my opinion is part of one of the most solid strategies in all of Dominion, in kingdoms where it works. This one may or may not be one of those. So when you play a Tactician, you discard your entire hand, all the cards that you have left. As long as there was at least 1 card that you discarded to Tactician, at the start of your next turn you get 5 extra cards, 1 extra action, and 1 extra buy. So it's kind of like giving up the current turn to take a double turn for the next one. Sometimes that's not going to help you very much. Other times it can be great. You draw a tactician in a hand with a copper and 3 victory cards. Of course, it's great to play the tactician. You don't get to do anything that turn. But the next turn, you've got a double turn. It combines well with Outpost because on your Outpost turn, you can get 5 extra cards and start with a hand of 8. And your opponent has no opportunity to attack that hand. There's also the matter that when you play a tactician, yes, you have to throw away all of your cards, so you're not going to have any treasures, but it doesn't skip your buy phase, and any coins you've already got from playing actions that turn, you still get to keep. So it's possible to construct a deck where you play a tactician every turn. Starting from a hand of 10 cards, you play a bunch of action cards that give you extra money, and then at the end of the turn, you play your tactician, discard the rest of your hand, and then spend all those coins you built up. You can get a really solid deck that always starts a turn with 10 cards, and you can pretty reliably buy 2 provinces that way. But you can also just have one in your deck and hope that it comes up in a dud hand, so that your next hand becomes twice as good. I actually won a game with that recently with a clutch tactician play. I had a hand with 2 coppers, my opponent was closing in on the last couple of provinces, so I threw my hand in with tactician, and on my next turn, I had the buying power to get both of the remaining provinces and end the game. So, that's everything that I've got to say about this kingdom. Have you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think this kingdom here is actually pretty crazy. There's a lot of very, very strong cards on this board. I guess a particular note is Ambassador, which is actually, like, normally people look at it the first time they see it and they think, oh, this card, this seems a bit weird. Like, you know, putting cards back in the supply, what's the deal with that? It's actually one of the strongest cards in the game, in my opinion. Because there are 2 very powerful effects in Dominion that you really want if you can get them. Number 1 is to get rid of junk out of your deck, and the second one is to put junk in your opponent's deck, and this is the rare card that does both of these things, and it only costs 3. And it gets rid of multiple junks out of your deck at once, so it's just crazy strong. So I think most boards, if you ignore opening Ambassador, you lose where it's available.
Yeah, definitely a good point. And there's also a case to be made for opening 2 ambassadors on a 3-4 split sometimes, although I don't know that I would do that here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if your opponent here opened double ambassador, you could just lighthouse, like, because it is an attack, and basically avoid their junking. I mean, you might want the lighthouses anyway here. Other strong cards is that a Fishing Village and Wharf is a well-known, like, very strong combo. Because they're both, like, actions and draw, and they are duration, you just start your turns with loads of cards and loads of actions, and it's very, very easy to draw your whole deck, especially with, like, strong trashing from Ambassador. So, I mean, this board, it seems, you know, like, very, very strong engine. All the components you need are here. So, those are my thoughts. Yeah, how much of my game plan do I want to give away? I don't know. Like,
that's up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm leaning heavily toward trying to do something double tactician, but the only money cards we've got here are Cut Purse, Fishing Village, and Lighthouse. Not awful, but I mean, definitely the ability to have a lighthouse in play every turn is going to be vital.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, we can always play the kingdom twice, where you try that and see how it goes. You know, on my personal opinion, I think that because it's so easy to draw your deck, and treasure map is a way to very quickly throw treasures into your deck, a treasure-based payload, spending lots of golds, is probably going to be better, and therefore I think Tactician may hurt. However, you know, It's also very good for outpost, as you mentioned. So, but then again, so is wharf. So,
yeah, all very good points. Suppose let's get into the game and see what ends up coming up. I'm going to go for early cut purse.
Okay. I think I will just take the ambassador now. I think after my comments, it should have been no surprise that I was picking that up. So.
yeah, that's true.
I think Fishing Village is one of those rare villages that you do want to open with sometimes, even if... Because it does give you a little bit of money. Oh, that cut purse was very annoying. You'll be glad
I kind of figured it would be. That's why I opened it. So I guess the question is, do I want to go with an early wharf and fill my deck with a bunch of stuff that I can't play very effectively? Or do I want to jump right into Tactician? Well, let's go for the wharf first. It's going to be more useful early on.
So I did have 5, but not anymore. I would have loved the wharf here, as I've already got a village going. I'll just take another one.
Yeah, that's first player advantage for you. Let's junk you up with some estates for right now. And get a lighthouse.
Maybe I want a lighthouse too, yeah.
I'm going to toss you a copper, but I'm going to hold on to them all for now. Get me a fishing village.
Do I want to cut purse you? Well, probably. Well, you've already got a lighthouse, so I think I might have. I was going to say missed the boat. Very thematic phrase. Let's keep getting these fishing villages.
Yeah, pretty soon I'm going to be hurting for not having fishing villages. But do I want to get one now? Nah, I'm going to take a gold for now.
Speaking of missing the boat, I've done it again thanks to your cut purse. No wharf for me. I've gone for 5 to 4. It's an interesting decision on my turn. I guess you can't see my cards, but basically I've got 1 estate, 2 coppers, and an ambassador. So obviously getting estates out of the deck is good. They're less useful than the copper. However, I can get rid of 2 cards if I choose coppers instead. But then obviously I've got many more estates. So, because I've already got 2 money, I might take the coppers and buy a lighthouse, because 4 isn't doing so much for me here. And I've already got plenty of fishing villages, so I think I'll just take the extra trashing instead.
It makes sense, and here I can afford to buy another fishing village, so I think I will do that.
So here I finally get my wharf.
Not sure I want another fishing village right now. Let me get a warehouse.
I'll just take another wharf.
So do I want another wharf myself? Do I want to jump into the points game? Let's do a wharf for now.
I will just keep taking these villages. Soon I will eventually pair them with my wharves.
Yep. Yeah, I want to get the wharf in play. It hasn't been doing me a whole lot of good so far. I've got 2 buys. Let's go fishing village and another lighthouse.
Yeah, I mean, the dream with the lighthouse, of course, is to have 2 of them and you play them on alternate turns. Then you are covered all the time. I think it's a lot better than moat, because moat you have to have it in your starting 5 cards, and that gets quite difficult when you've got a lot of cards. And also, it's a lot harder to play it, because lighthouse has +1 action and moat doesn't. Moat itself is not a brilliant card if you ignore the reaction part.
Yep, so let's see. I could go wharf pearl diver. That's probably going to work the best.
Got 3 fishing villages. I'm not sure if I want to play them all. I would like to have a fairly even number of fishing villages each turn, but I think I probably should. And again, I want to throw multiple cards back instead of this estate. I've got to watch out because I'm throwing away all my coppers and I haven't really bought any other money except the fishing villages and the lighthouse. So.
Alright. Probably do want 1 more lighthouse. So let's go for that. Get a lot of cards in there that are going to generate money for me. I forgot to mention this previously, but you can hover over anyone's name and it'll show you in the status bar on the right what duration cards they have sitting out. Tends to be very helpful.
So here I've got my other lighthouse in my hand, but I'm not going to play it so that it's available to play on the next turn, because I have played 1 this turn. This is unfortunate that I've got 4 fishing villages and 4 wharves, but I've played 3 wharves this turn and 3 fishing villages the other turn. It would be nice to split them evenly. I really need more money here. And I think I'm going to do that by getting more fishing villages. They are technically money.
Technically speaking, they are. Alright. So, you do have a lighthouse in play. Which means the cut purse is not going to work as an attack. But I could get some money out of it. How much am I going to have? 79.
I mean, soon I won't even have any coppers anymore. So.
Yeah, I don't know how much money I really need this turn. So, let's get rid of those. And we'll do one more wharf fishing village pair.
I've already drawn my deck, huh? That's interesting.
Yep. Yeah, you haven't got a lot of stuff left.
So here I only want to pay 3. It's a shame we've only got 1 wharf for next turn. I do have more fishing villages, but I sort of don't really want to play them. So I can have 3 on one turn and 3 on another. Let's see. Yeah, this leaves me with 8. I would like this last wharf. I just don't want you to have it, mainly. Wow, we are already 2 piles.
Yep. Scary. End of the game is coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me go ahead and Pearl Diver. Yeah, I don't want that on top of my deck right now. There's a fishing village. And you once again have a lighthouse in play, of course. I think that will do it.
Yes, you've still got an estate. I was looking
yes, I do.
I was looking to grab an estate and a lighthouse, or 5 lighthouses and 1 estate, or 2 estates next turn, but of course you have beaten me to it, so well done. That's the thing with Dominion and its engines. When you've got such a powerful one, like Wharf and Fishing Village, the piles just run out. I mean, look at that, 14 turns, and it's all over.
Yep. Yeah, you can get really aggressive with the Ambassador. I've seen players actually run themselves down to just 2 coppers in their deck and then realize, oh, wait a second, I've just destroyed my economy, and my opponent is not passing me coppers anymore.
Yes, I mean, if it wasn't for the fishing village money, I definitely... Well, I wouldn't have bought so many fishing villages so early if they didn't give me money. But yeah, that was... I definitely trashed way faster than you did, and then had nothing to show for it when the game ended. So...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Had you bought that early province, then that would have at least kept me on my toes.
That is true. I didn't think about the lighthouses enough, but there's so many buys with Wharf, it's very easy to just run another pile. So
Yep. Yeah, that was it. I just looked and I said, hey, 5 buys, and I've got enough coins, I can do it.
I had all these wonderful dreams of buying 2 treasure maps and then getting an outpost and just having these multiple turns, buying all these provinces, and well, it never came to pass.
Yeah, that is actually a good point, because if you can do outpost on your treasure map turn, then you'll just be drawing 3 gold. You can go ahead and buy the province, and then have a normal turn after that.
That is true, but what you would really like on this board is to have wharves and fishing villages played every turn, so your outpost wouldn't have 3 cards, like your wharves would kick off and you would draw to like 7 or something, and then you would try to draw everything again, and maintain it, because you really want to, on your outpost turn, play more wharves and fishing villages, so you've got them for your next turn available.
Yeah, in this case, I didn't really see drawing everything as the goal so much as drawing enough. And it was tempting to buy a 2nd gold at some point, but I certainly had enough money coming in.
Yeah, I mean, outpost, if you can draw everything, like when I drew everything, I probably should have picked up an outpost, because then if you can draw everything on your outpost turns, you've effectively having double the number of turns as your opponent, and it's very hard to come back there if you don't join in.
Definitely true.
Should we have another game of this one? I mean, this game sort of went very quickly.
Yeah, alright. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'll see how the tactician fares this time.
Yeah, I did like your cut purse. I am actually going to try it this time. I think you still can't ignore the ambassador, though.
Yeah, of course. And the question is, if they collide, which one do you play?
I would say the ambassador for sure. Get the trashing on the early shuffles. I suppose it's technically not trashing. Sadly, mine was at the bottom of my deck. I think I'll get the warehouse this time as well.
Yeah, tactician.
I have 6. Cut purse has made a big difference to the amount of money I get in this game. You see, I'm still tempted to just get the wharf.
Probably a good shot.
Yeah, I'm stuck in my ways, I'm afraid. And I get both my attacks at the turn you've got your lighthouse. Brilliant. I'm wondering how ignorable lighthouse is if you can keep up with the junking and the discards.
Yeah, I don't think I can get anything really productive here.
Whew, big turn here. Yeah, let's keep doing it.
Yeah, 2 wharves.
Tactician definitely runs on the assumption that 1 big turn is better than 2 middling turns, so you can hit those important price points.
Yeah, tends to be. And here, there's not really a whole lot that I want under 5 coins. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it into state this time and go ahead and get a fishing village.
Yeah, I'm just getting so much more money this time than I did last game. I will steal all of the fishing villages.
Yeah, part of me wants that other tactician right now. Part of me says better get fishing villages before they're all gone.
So this time I think I am going to try taking the outpost earlier. Do I want a lighthouse? I mean, I guess I probably should. No, I wanted to try this game and see if I could avoid it, so I'll just get a pearl diver.
Alright.
glad you played Tactician. This is one terrible turn for me. 3 estates, 2 coffers.
We'll get those out. Get that taken care of and determine how much money I'm going to need. I think 8 is enough. Get the last fishing village and a tactician. Alright, again, determining what I need. You don't have a lighthouse out.
True, I don't own any of them at all.
I need 9. Yeah, I think let's go ahead and do it that way. So you didn't have a copper. Now, I've got to watch that the piles don't get too low. So we want a wharf and a couple of lighthouses.
Yeah, let's put that copper on top. And draw it. So this is a much better turn than I've had before. I actually get to throw some of these estates away at last. That's the first time I've had the chance. And I also get my outpost. Do I want to empty the pile like I did last time? I think I'm... No, I'll take 1 wharf. But for now I'll take a gold, I think. And here's my outpost, but one of my wharves is helpfully drawn for me. So I have some semblance of a turn here. Although this is the bottom of the line. Did I play my cut purse on both turns and hit you both times? That's nice, if so.
Yep. Very nice, actually.
Can I get away with buying this wharf? I think I can. No, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go for 2 treasure maps. And I'm still going to ignore that lighthouse, just because I can.
Alright. So I didn't have to throw away very much money because you hit me with all those cut purses.
Yes. I guess it didn't matter in the end.
I think I need to get the last wharf. I don't feel particularly threatened by the piles running out just yet. Perhaps that was a mistaken feeling.
I don't know. I'm not getting as much through my deck here as I thought. Wow, I've got a lot of coppers.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you can't generate 14 coins.
Well, sadly, I've only drawn 1 treasure map, so that was a bit sad there. Actually, I'm going to do what I did last time and get rid of all my states. So I am.
Oh, okay, you're going to put me in the lead.
Yeah, but this time I am going to take a province. And what else do I want here? I'm going all in on points. So you can't empty a pile on me.
Well, I wouldn't say that I can't empty a pile on you.
I don't think you've got enough buys, or am I missing something?
Well, we'll find out.
Well, especially if you need to buy a province on top as well, and a duchy.
Right. So, let's see. Yeah, the big problem is I didn't find my other tactician. Got too many coppers.
Yeah. Having 2 tacticians and playing them every turn is great, but as soon as it falls over, your next hand suddenly becomes a lot worse.
Definitely.
So here I get to play my treasure map. And I'm just going to draw some of those golds. So I have 7 buys, so I can actually empty the lighthouses instead, I think.
Yep,
is that the best?
That you can.
Or even the pearl divers. So I'm not going to get that outpost turn, however I do get an extra province as well.
Yep.
So...
yeah, like I figured, the double tactician, granted I had bad luck there, but I think I also didn't construct my deck very effectively.
I think the double tactician can't reach the highs of the Fishing Village Wharf engine, but the Fishing Village Wharf engine is also susceptible to having the game end on it unexpectedly, like the first game. I still had 7 coppers. I guess that's what happens when you don't pick up Lighthouse in this game.
Yeah,
you just get junked. That was causing me a problem at the end. My turns. I should have had my golds a lot earlier, but I couldn't draw through all of those coppers. So
yeah, I think you kind of need slightly better draw to do a double tactician deck. I think I made a double tactician deck once out of mainly Festival and Smithy. That works really well.
Yes. I wonder, yeah, Festival is very good with Tactician, of course, because it gives you so much money as well without being treasure. Yeah, I mean, Fishing Village and Wharf is good for the Tactician, but I suppose, yeah, the Fishing Village and the cut purses and the lighthouses, like, that's a lot of, the Fishing Villages and lighthouses particularly, is a lot of cards to draw through that are only giving you, like, 1 coin per card.
Yeah, and not actually drawing anything. I mean, you really need the wharves here, and it was tough to get them and still, build up to the double tactician.
Yeah, especially when I steal 6 wharves and 7 fishing villages, by the looks of it. I suppose that's the other advantage of the wharf. It gives you a lot of buys. You can just pick up all of those components while the tactician player is spending his turn throwing his hands away. Oh, very interesting board anyway. I did like that one. That was very good.
Yeah, I tend to like most of the suggested sets. There was that one in Intrigue that didn't look like it was going to be as much fun, but it's good being able to pick and choose, and certainly I don't need to play through all of them before saying, let's move on, get a new set in there.
Yeah, I never really tried them, but maybe I should, like before. I just always shuffled out random cards. I suppose I liked seeing what came up. Well, you do.
Yeah, it kind of works either way. I mean, especially, we're recording this just after Christmas. I just got a new artist case and dividers and index cards and stuff. So now I have all of my Dominion cards, all the mats, all the tokens and everything just in one big box that I can carry with me.
Oh, very nice. over here in the UK, there's another company that does like this wooden box that I've got, but it's actually quite heavy. I've got like 6 boxes of real Dominion, and it's getting to the stage where I can't add any more, not because there's no room in the box, but because I won't be able to pick it up soon. It's not worth taking it if it's too heavy.
Yeah, that is kind of a problem, and it's definitely difficult. I think when I was bringing it home, I had to put the box into a big tub with all of the empty Dominion boxes, and if I were to stack actual games with stuff still in the box on top of it, I would never be able to lift it.
Yeah.
So I figure what I'll probably do is just, put it in a garbage bag in case it rains, carry that separately, and then have a big tub with all the other games that I want to play, if any.
The big blue IKEA bags are very good for carrying board games around in, and big boxes. If you ever get the chance to grab one of those.
Alright, yeah, I think there's an IKEA somewhere in the same state as me, probably.
Oh, I guess it might be quite a trek, yeah. I got mine when I happened to be there anyway once, so that's very useful.
I live in a town where anything that's a bigger chain than Taco Bell just kind of immediately folds.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably all we've got to say about this particular kingdom, so we'll see everybody for another set and the final set of Seaside cards next time.
Thank you, bye-bye.